Everyone, real rankings updates times. I'm going to give you my rankings updates for everyone at the end of the year here. There was some movement based off the UFC Tampa card, so we're just going to go through that today. Going to be a pretty quick video. Just go through the fights, see if anyone's even worthy of being in the rankings, and see the updates that I made. So the first fight was Josephine Newton, Pierre Rodriguez. Nothing happening there. Maybe if Pierre Rodriguez gets another impressive win over either ranked comp or someone close to ranked, she can be in that 15 spot. But nothing's happening there. Same with Davey Grant, Roman Tavares, just not guys that were close to the rankings. A win over each other doesn't get them in. Miranda Maverick, I had considered putting into the rankings for women's flyweight, but the names up there just have more impressive wins of recently. Jamie Lynn Horth isn't a great win, isn't a ranked worthy win. Felipe Lima and Miles Johns, similar situation. Felipe Lima beating Miles Johns by decision is not ranked worthy, but I see Felipe Lima in 2 fights, pulling off 2 victories and finding his way into the rankings. All depends who the UFC matches him up with, but I think they realize they have a contender that a lot of people are interested in. Sean Woodson, Fernando Padilla. I didn't put Sean Woodson in the rankings. Now I'll show you what featherweight looked like right now. It's Doo Ho Choi, Edson Barbosa, Dan Ige, Bryce Mitchell, Giga, Calvin Kattar, and on and on and on and on and on. So Sean Woodson did not jump in here. I think his next fight should be against the number 11 ranked Giga Chikadze per my rankings. But beating Fernando Padilla doesn't get you into the rankings. Doo Ho Choi beat Nate Landwehr, did it dominantly. No issues in the fight at all. I put him at 15. I thought he was a little more deserving than Sean Woodson. I think Doo Ho Choi is really good, so I'm going to keep him in there. Sean Woodson's probably at like 16 or 17, though, honestly. One more win, he's getting in. He's got to fight the right comp to get in. That's really what happened. Like, he got the win over Caceres, but that was a very close fight. Some people thought Caceres won. But we move on. Joel Alvarez and Jakar Close. I added a second 15 spot. I did it. I put Joel Alvarez tied at 15 with Diego Ferreira. I can't just pull Diego Ferreira out. He's got a fight coming up. And I really just can't pull him out. He's so good. He has such impressive wins over guys like Rombeski, like big wins. Alvarez also has a bunch of sick wins, and honestly, if I were to pull a guy, it would be Diego Ferreira over Joel Alvarez, because Alvarez does everything by finish, and while Ferreira's fought like incredibly tough competition, you look and so has Joel Alvarez, and he's finished almost all of them. Only guy he lost to was Demiris Magulov a long time ago, back in 2019, so we're not really rating that one. He's improved tremendously since then. But also like Arman Sarukian, who's literally fighting for the title. Those were his losses in the UFC. Everyone else he's beaten, like the Jakar Closes, really good wins there. I'm going to have him tied at 15th. Moving up the card, Michael Johnson doesn't jump in the rankings. He's got some work to do. Knocking out Otman Dazaitar doesn't get you in. Navajo Sterling beating Tuco Tokos by decision doesn't get you in. Daniel Marcos. Nothing changes at bantamweight here. But I think Daniel Marcos' next fight should be in bantamweight. Listen, Marcos won. He won a split decision. I think he won that pretty confidently. But that doesn't get him in the rankings. I know he's 17-0. I know that he's beat good competition like Davey Grant and Adrian Yanez, but you got to get a win in the rankings, I think, in this position to get in at bantamweight. Bantamweight's just such a row of killers, and I think that's the move, is the next fight you give Daniel Marcos his ranked contender. So we're going to move on. Dustin Jacoby versus Vitor Petrino. Things stay where they are, and the reason why is this 15 spot right here. Now, I wholeheartedly believe Dustin Jacoby would beat the shit out of Anthony Smith. I don't know what the deal with Anthony Smith is in retiring yet. I can absolutely see him just falling out of the rankings and me putting Jacoby in here at a later date because of his win, but Jacoby has like a number of losses recently, and I know the Roundtree one I'm not considering a loss because he fucking beat Roundtree and we know it. But like, he lost to Mirzakhanov, he knocked out Kennedy and Zechnikou, and then he lost to 2 guys in the rankings here, Alonzo Menefield and Dom Reyes, 2 guys ranked in the top 15. I just can't put him above Alonzo Menefield yet. And I know Alonzo Menefield's getting ice cold in the octagon. He got knocked out by Azamat Mirzakhanov and Carlos Olberg, but like, look at where those 2 guys are. So you see what I mean? I'm not putting Jacoby in. He's very close. He's probably right around that 17 number as well, but he's not going in. We're going to move to flyweight. A lot of changes here, guys. Manel Kape did a fucking number. Now, I'm not going to put him above Tatsuro Taira, but he put up such a good performance that I feel he is worthy of skipping all these guys. Think he's better than Almabayev. Think that win was more impressive than any win Almabayev has had. Think he's better than Asakura. Think he's looked better than Usyk in recent fights. Usyk's coming off 2 losses in a row and was ranked 10 before that. Alex Perez hasn't fought in a while. He's going to go down below Kape. And Amir Albazi got his ass beat so bad by Brandon Moreno that I'm moving him down as well here to 6. Also considering that now we're looking at and I look back at this and he clearly lost to Kai Kara France. He's going down below him. He would lose to Kape and Taira. I think he'd lose to Royval. He might be a tricky style matchup for Royval, but I picked Royval to beat him. Moreno did beat him. Pantoja would smoke him. It's like he's just going below. So Kape's moving up 5 spots here from the 10 to the 5. Muhammad Makayev must be damn good because he froze Manel Kape in that fight and was obviously grasping for legs the whole time, but he had him frozen points in time. Tatsuro Taira was going to go up 1. I was arguing putting Kape above Taira, but I just... Not yet. Not for beating just Bruno Silva, and especially considering how close the Taira-Royval fight is, I think things are right there. Bruno Silva, Kupchak, master, moving him down 2 spots to 15, and Van and Johnson up 1. Listen, Van and Johnson have looked better in recency than Bruno Silva has. I get that Bruno Silva knocked out Cody Durden, but Cody Durden was getting a lot of the better of the exchanges. He just ended up getting the choke that he needed. So this is the flyweight probably had the most changes here. Silva down to 15 from 13. Johnson and Van going up 1 spot, 13 and 14. Almabayev, Kai Asakura, Steve Usyk, Alex Perez, and Amir Albazi going down 1 spot. Manel Kape going up 5 spots, and Tatsuro Taira going up 1 spot. Now we're going to get to the co-main event. Nothing happens in the Cubs-Swanson Billy Quarantillo fight. Cubs probably retiring, and you don't get ranked for just beating Billy Quarantillo, and Billy Quarantillo obviously lost. Now, Joaquin Buckley and Colby Covington. I thought the Colby win was very good. But if you'll remember, I didn't have Colby ranked highly before. I actually had Colby down at the 9 spot before this fight, and I had Buckley down at the 7. Now, I think Buckley's wins have become better than the Gary and Brady wins. I'm just going to say that. I think Brady's win over Burns was great, pretty dominant. But I rate Buckley's win over Colby better, and I actually think Colby's a little bit of a tougher opponent than Burns, if I'm going to be brutally honest. And people might hate that take. Fucking deal with it, because I don't think that the Colby that showed up was the worst version of Colby. I think it was like how Colby Covington always fights. Sure, he was a little bit slower than normal, within prime Colby, yeah, but he was older, I get it. So was Burns. He was slower, and he wasn't as good as the prime Burns that we've seen, where this Colby was... He was looking like the Colby that we usually see, just a little slower, where he was... And if you don't think that's the case, then you didn't watch the old-time Colby. He never had good technical striking. Never did. He just threw volume and was tough as nails. He was tough as nails in this fight. He didn't want the fight to get stopped. The doctor stopped it. And it was a cut. And he wanted to keep going in there and fighting. And he was. He had moments where he got Buckley on the ground and got to go body head. The old Chael Sonnen tactic. He fought a normal Colby fight. He just was outmatched by Buckley. So he's going to stay at the 9 spot here. And Buckley's going to go up because I think his performance was that damn good. He looked better in his performance against Colby than Ian did against Shavkat, than Ian did against MVP, and than Ian did against Neil Magny. And than Ian Gary did against Jeff Neal. Joaquin Buckley looked better against Colby, looked better against Luque, who we saw come off a huge win, so you can't discredit the Luque win for quitting anymore, because he's coming off a huge knockout win, looked great against Themba. And... who's the other guy that he beat? Sultan Ruzaboyev is a tricky matchup. But harder to fight than Magny, in my opinion. Harder fight than Magny, and Joaquin Buckley destroyed him. And Ian Gary destroyed Magny, but those are on the same level. The Wonder Boy knockout is way better than anything Ian Gary did to Jeff Neal, or you can compare it to the D-Rod win, but Wonder Boy's way better than D-Rod. So Buckley's going up above Gary 2 spots. And Sean Brady's wins over Gastelum are really impressive, very good. And the win over Burns is good, but I just rate the one over Colby a little bit better. So, Burns Brady goes down 1 spot from 6 to 7. Gary goes down from 5 to 6. And Buckley jumps up 2 spots at 5. These are the final rankings updates of the year. We will do this again after the January 11th card, or if any major news is made, I'll break it in a random video breaking down that random news, and I will tell you and show you about the rankings updates. But thank you for watching. Coming to the end of the year, got a lot of content coming out in the next few weeks, so get very excited. It's going to be just some interesting, unique stuff. A lot of awards-based Fighters of the Year, Knockouts of the Year, Cards of the Year, and more and more and more. So there will be plenty to come out. So promise you that. Thanks for riding along for the foreseeable future, and we'll see you soon.